Well, and so while you were up there, that's where you got to experience. That's where you got to experiment with psychedelics.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Because I had so many projects, I would actually be microdosing a little bit.
Okay. You're not the first person who's
because
for microdosing on this podcast.
Because
I've never done it.
I mean, like, it's only for like I will actually do a trip if I don't have much to do. But I was first introduced to it as microdosing, so I could pass time better, because in those situations, say like projects to render, you would be in the lab for hours.
Well, a microdose isn't supposed to be like psychoactively active. You're not supposed to be
no.
seeing stuff.
But I'm saying the first introduction to starting getting into psychedelics was starting with the microdosing before, it was then weekends and people like, we have nothing to do. Let's go for a bigger dose, right?
Yeah,
I just wanted to be like a little bit precautious about like, I've never done this before. Like, hand me weed and any kind of smoke, okay, that's fine. But we're talking about something that I know that other people and I've seen other people crazy. I was 18.
And so no one around was like particularly experienced with psychedelics.
No. That was the other thing.
So you guys were all just like young dickheads.
Yeah, exactly.
Around with
which I was aware that like you
were aware of this fact.
You know people like even like homeboys think it's funny. It's like, oh, let's roofie your friend. Like that was like back in the day, people doing that. It's kind
very
of crap.
Impolite, but
right?
I understand that type of hazing. I played football. Hazing happens, especially in college when everybody's bored. And
exactly, right?
Like shit gets out of control.
I mean, Rochester's a place where it's like 8 months of winter, so what else are you gonna do, right? Like, that's why you get a good tolerance for whiskey and beer, and get pretty good at beer pong. It's just kind of the environment.
I'm a beer pong legend.
Legend.
I had a house in Taylor whenever I was young. Me and my brother had a house in Taylor, and Kevin was 18, I was 19, and we had a house. And so all of our friends that were 18 and 19 that couldn't go out and drink legally, our place turned into the hangout. But so you were microdosing. I'm assuming it was mushrooms, or was it LSD?
Yes. So from what I was aware of, it was like since Rochester was close to the Great Lakes, it was like lakeside mushrooms, which had different colors. So
I'm unfamiliar. That's neat.
Yeah, I don't even remember the string colors, but I was explained to it and I was like, okay.
some wook explains it.
Like, yeah, some guy like, okay,
different
so
colors because different
you've earned my trust because you like when somebody is really enthusiastic about something, it makes me feel more comfortable because it sounds like they've done their research, right?
Well, at least they've had good experiences.
Yes,
with
exactly.
It and are enthusiastic for you to have a shared
exactly. They're hoping you share the same.
They're trying to forge a path in the fifth dimension to something really positive, and you can tell, right? And like whenever you're in that environment, like it's like okay, cool, like. I want to get to like the thing that I can see you've had. Cool, let's do it. And so, what was your first like really big psychedelic experience like?
I remember it because it was also in a.
Tell me all about it.
It was between two slices of bread with some sliced bananas, peanut butter, and honey.
That's well done.
And someone made me a sandwich.
That's well
right.
Done. Good job.
And because I remember
it took a long time for it to hit, didn't it?
It did, but it was nice because like it was also like
you start being like this isn't gonna work.
We were around a campfire.
When you wrap it in a sandwich,
it was just
it's like
a lot of
bomb.
Go fetching wood, and by the time like we had enough wood and like sitting down, I could just sit down, and then nobody bothered me, which was awesome. Like some people went to go drink and stuff like that too. I'm pretty sure they didn't take any, so. There was actually no pressure. Before I knew it, I was gathering some wood though. And then realizing that we already put out the fire, so I was gathering wood for like no reason. So I just literally at one point when I realized that happened, I just dropped all the wood, just looked around, and I just sat down.
Bro, you're describing being a 2-year-old picking up sticks.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're just like, let me get these sticks. Oh, yeah. I don't need these anymore. Plop.
Yeah, it's weird because like even up there, there's different. Like, especially when you don't have, like, any light pollution, like, you have some kind of, like, you can still see things, right, at night.
Oh, yeah, And what a lot of people don't realize is that mushrooms factually do increase your visual acuity.
Exactly. So like I was very more keen to like the sensitivity to light.
And the longer you're
so
in
I
that
didn't
dark
feel
light,
like scared, like I was like alone in the dark in the woods or something like that. Like I could see everything, and then you know, I even was just like, what do I do now because the cafeteria is closed? You know, like I was thinking about those kind of things. So, but it was a very nice sense of calm, and then I put the check marks like, okay, mushrooms, okay, body, okay. Didn't have a bad experience, even up into maybe my late 20s. Having mushrooms was probably the last. Still no problem. Had great times, you know. And very productive.
And one of the things people don't realize about these psychedelics is that there's something that you typically don't want to abuse.
Yeah.
Right? Like there's a distinct feeling that you have when you're taking them that like it'd be fine if you took it a bunch, but it isn't necessarily in your best interest to do this all the time. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like it's fun, it's good. But there's a reason why there isn't like a huge epidemic of people being addicted to mushrooms. Mm-hmm, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And so have you ever taken anything like heroic? Like have you like really like uncorked your fucking self by taking way too much, or had like anything really profound go down on psychedelics?
I wouldn't say profound. You know, like to the point where like I haven't things on mushrooms was definitely not the same as say like things on acid.
Oh, so I have a thing I like to say. I actually saw this online somewhere and it made good sense. Is mushrooms are like Lord of the Rings and LSD is like Star Wars.
Yes. Okay.
You see what I'm saying? Like it's just
a
whole different vibes, but like they're fun, dude. They're both fun. Bro, if you ever want something profound, I like have DMT. Like you want to go talk to God, bro? You got 15 minutes. Bro?
Okay, so good topic on that. So once I literally was just telling my homeboy in the car about this. Like there was one time where I did have a plug that you know I care about not only getting some bud for me and my wife, but I care about you know, the kind of like the business and part of it, right? Making sure that they're good people. I don't want to just enable an asshole.
Yeah. You don't want to be like this. You don't want to be putting cash in the pocket of a bad person.
Exactly. So at first it was all great, and then I remember one time like I was just playing a little poker with him, and he gave me a pen to hit, which I assumed was just like
weed.
A THC card. And it ended up being a DMT cart without him telling me.
Oh, that's very impolite.
Because he wanted me to still stay there and hang out with him, right? Which then kind of really then later on triggered the screaming notion of like, this dude is like, be my friend, you know, but doesn't want to say it, but can supply it with like, say, just like good times or whatever, but that was definitely crossing the line because before I don't know where time's gone and stuff like that. And I have responsibility still, right? Like, I do have my fun. I earn my fun, but, you know, it is not psychedelic time or to make me trip.
Well, like, bro,
like, before, without knowing.
Like, you don't want to fuck with people's perception of time without their consent and stuff. Like, like the big thing is that he hijacked your bodily autonomy without your consent. Yeah. That's and that's a breach of trust, and you don't want to put someone under the influence of a psychedelic in a situation where doing it is literally a breach of trust. Like it's like a guaranteed recipe for a bad trip and for that person to start like really disliking you. Like that's so impolite. Like I don't know why that guy thought it was a good idea. It was definitely a lapse in judgment on that individual's behalf. And that's not the like responsible or friendly way to really go about doing it.
I mean, I think it also had to happen so that way it would wake me up a little bit to realize that.
Woke you up a little bit.
As much as I wanted to always be a helpful giver in some kind of like friendship, time, whatever, just a sympathetic ear, right? Like that's what some people are thinking about, but. Then to get the return of certain actions, right? It's like you have to maybe create certain layers
I think I think
out of that kind of like.
I think a good simile is giving cash to homeless people, right? You want to help, right?
Yeah.
But those people have been receiving that type of help at continuum for an indefinite period of time.
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
and so if you're just complicit to that, then are you really helping? Or are you know what I'm saying? Like, are you really helping?
Man a fish, right?
Are you really actually helping that individual at all? Are you really? You know, and maybe you are. I've never been going through withdrawals under a bridge. You know.
Exactly. We haven't been in their situation.
I don't know, but these are thoughts that cross my mind as I hand out my change. It's like, man, am I really helping this individual, or you know, like, do they? Because what I think help would be taking them to a rehab. You know what I'm saying, and getting them to where they can get like a consistent supply of methadone, so that they can, or you know, like there's so many different reasons why you wind up homeless. And I actually want to start a charity called Building Bridges. And we build bridges that take you where you're going, not to sleep under. And I have this idea that if you are habitually homeless, that's an indication of some clear form of mental disability. Like, the average person isn't going to go live under a bridge because they can make it. And they do, right? They're not so disabled that they can't, right? They're disabled to the point that they can't. And whatever that may be. And a lot of these people are so sick that they don't realize that they are sick. A lot of them know they're sick, but they don't realize that there's access to help. They don't realize what type of help's available to them. And there's just a wide spectrum of reasons. You know, like, some of these people, they don't have an ID. You can't get Social Security benefits if you don't have a fucking ID. So
monkey mouth, monkey mouth, monkey mouth, monkey mouth.